I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey everybody, my name is Lauren Kling. Welcome to AfterBuzz's after show for the Netflix series Brews Brothers. Welcome. We're going to cover the 8 episodes in this first season for you today. We're going to do them all today. We have nothing else better to do. Joining me, I have 2 of my co-hosts. Let's first say hello to Eric Jewell. How are you, Eric?
I'm good. How are you guys? Very excited for this. This is the closest we can get to going out right now. So why not binge a show about a bar?
That's right. And then we also have Alyssa Dickert. How are you? Welcome to the show.
I'm great. So excited to be here with all of you. And like Eric said, I love going to breweries, and I'm excited to pretend like I'm there through this series.
Yeah. So because we're recording it at 2 p.m. on a Friday, we're basically day drinking.
Yeah.
So
favorite pastime.
Yeah. So favorite pastime. All right. So for the both of you, what is your favorite bar or brewery place to drink beer here in SoCal or somewhere else?
Eric?
Yep. My personal favorite right now is a bar called Secret Bar on Hollywood Boulevard. They give you a bucket of 5 beers for $15. So it's a deal you really can't beat anywhere else.
Okay.
This one is kind of out there. I used to live in North Dakota, and there's a brewery out there called Laughing Sun, and they have the best beer. It's called Sinister Pear. It has a very high proof of alcohol, so it kind of gets you buzzed off of one, but it's delicious. So I'm going with that one.
Nice. And my current favorite here in SoCal is probably the Verdugo Bar, which is in Glassell Park. Cool little fun bar. I also host trivia there on Tuesday nights, but not now. So I'm dreaming of getting my pint of beer. We'll pretend we have our beers and we're day drinking. So let's talk about this show right here, Brews Brothers. First off, we're gonna cover 2 episodes. Starting with Alyssa, what do you think of this show based on the first 2 episodes?
Based on the first 2 episodes, it's just kind of getting a feel for the characters, kind of the dynamic. But overall, I liked the humor. So it seems like it'll be a pretty good season.
All right. How about you, Eric?
Yeah, the first 2 episodes started kind of rough for me. It was a bit slow for me to get into, but towards the end of the second episode, I started really getting on board. I'm really starting to like these characters a lot more, so I'm a lot more invested now.
Yeah. I didn't watch The League, and this definitely takes off of, kind of similar to that show, The League. But out of the gate for me, I liked it. I thought the characters were funny and ridiculous. So far, my 2 favorite characters are the 2 that run the kids menu food truck, Becky and Elvis, with the ass chaps. Oh my God. We'll get back to we'll get back to that. But we start at the Rodman Brew Company. This is shot at the old Iron Triangle Brewery in downtown LA. Did either of you ever make it to the Iron Triangle when it was open?
No,
I have not.
It's kind of like running into a celebrity where you're kind of excited. I had done some trivia there, run some trivia at Iron Triangle. So it was kind of cool being like, oh, I remember that chair. I remember that window. So, we get dorky like that. All right. So we start at this brewery where we quickly learn the name of the beers are really not thought out. The Rod Guzzler. So people think that it's a sex shop. Did any of you catch that pretty quick?
Well, this with Rodman Extreme Brewery and XXX, and it being located in Van Nuys, I was like, okay. So that first encounter, I was like, okay, I could definitely see how people would link that.
Right.
Yeah, seeing that triple X at the beginning of Extreme, I was like, yeah, this could easily be construed in the wrong way.
That's right. There was that name. Now, Van Nuys, California, for those that don't know, is in the San Fernando Valley here in Southern California. It's actually home to a large brewery, the Budweiser Brewery, that's been there since the 60s. In fact, there was kind of an amusement park. It was, oh boy, I'm blanking on it now, but they had birds and like rivers and streams, and you would take boat rides, and you could take this gondola tour through the brewery. Pretty.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I
it
didn't
was.
know that.
It
That's
was
amazing.
And
fun.
I grew up here.
Yeah, it was really cool. So, all right. So we've got Wilhelm or Will and
Mhm.
his cohorts, Sarah and Chuy, who seem to be the typical coworkers. I just totally picture them. Have you
Yeah.
guys ever gone to a place to go drinking and you see somebody like those two there?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's always someone who's the very competent one who is clearly Sarah in this like buildings relationship.
Yeah.
And then there's Chewy, who you're not entirely sure why he's actually working there. You know he's good at heart, but you're just like, you are not good for the business. Why are you still employed here right now?
Chewy seems like the dude that would hang out, lived in the neighborhood, hang out at the bar, and will be like, "Hey, you want a job?"
Yeah.
Like the one that's definitely there to engage in drinking the beer.
Yep.
And then Sarah, definitely the most responsible one
That's
out of
right.
the two.
Right. So we quickly learned that Wilhelm has a brother, Adam,
Mhm.
and Adam comes in to basically shit on the beers.
Yeah.
The brothers, we learn in a flashback, and I love that we have flashbacks in both episodes.
Mhm.
I hope we
Yeah.
have more. Basically, the brothers started making beer as underage kids. They were in a contest. Wilhelm spiked a beer with a hallucinogen in Portland later on, and basically could never brew in Portland
Yeah.
ever again.
He was
Um,
banned from an entire city.
Yeah.
I think, didn't he say like, yeah, Portland, yep. It's hilarious. But you can
Yeah.
just kind of tell how like hipster beer snobby he is just within that
Mhm.
first encounter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have either of you been to Portland?
I
No, I have
have.
not.
You haven't, Eric, but Alyssa, you have. Did it
Mhm.
totally feel like the typical brew bro kind of destination?
Yeah, he definitely had that vibe. So I definitely was like, okay, that
Yeah.
does not surprise me at all.
So he's here in LA to basically work with his brother,
Mhm.
but we can see he's going to be a problem right off the bat when the two gals come in and they basically want Bud Lights. And Adam craps on them, and basically they're like, "We're out of here."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very good and easy way to establish how snobby he actually is when it comes to beer.
Yeah, snobby is a good word. Yes, you're using a kind word to refer to Adam. What I love about this show is there's a beer menu in these different kind of beers, and from what I was reading in articles, the beer menu will change. I happen to catch the beers on the first one, and Eric, I think you might have catch a glimpse of the second one. So later on, we'll share some of these
Mhm.
beer names. Some of them seem cool. Some of them are very.
Go with
very
the XX extreme.
Yeah. And then we go and we meet Becky and Elvis, the kids menu food truck. Can one of you explain why it's called the kids menu food truck?
Yep, pretty much it's just because they said that when you go to a restaurant, you're not allowed to order off the kids menu when you're an adult. So you're like, oh, who doesn't love ordering off the kids menu? Who doesn't want a PB&J, chicken tenders, or just French fries when you're out on the street? And I was like, you make some sense here. You make a little bit of sense with a food cart for this.
But then what gets me is it's the chicken fingers and mac and cheese, but it's all organic, non-GMO.
Right.
And I'm like, these are the most unhealthy items.
Yeah, which it's great. I love a bar brewery that has food. I
Yeah.
think having
Mhm.
food and brew together to me is a perfect combination.
Yeah.
Especially because then you can drink a lot more without
Mhm.
getting completely wasted. So we've got Becky and Elvis who are making the food, say the most inappropriate things, and then and then we turn around and notice they're wearing ass chaps so we can see their butts.
Yeah, and that
One of my favorite lines is just they're so concerned about sanitation and how clean it should be, and you turn around and that's the first thing we see, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
clearly everything's not together with the two of you guys right now.
If there was a show, or there have been shows about food trucks, I forgot what the names are, but I would love to see them.
Mm-hmm. I
in
would
the-
love
in
to
the-
see them on an
yeah,
episode of those shows.
definitely.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I'm like, I wonder like Is that where they live? Do they like just hang out there all the time? Because it obviously seems like they like to make out and stuff in there. So
I know. And then next we meet Cole Harris, from the East Valley Craft Distribution, who we learn is basically the only guy in town who can distribute the brothers' beers. Now he's played by Stephen Ranazzi. I always mess up his name. Stephen Ranazzi.
Yeah, I can't say it either.
Yes, Ranazzi. Yeah, if I say it fast enough. He was on the league, so there's our tie-in to the league. So the brothers Will and basically Adam pisses off Will. Pisses off Cole, and basically that removes any chance of the bar being able to distribute their beer. And didn't we have a guy come in who basically said you owe rent?
Yeah.
yes.
Said that Will is 3 months past due for his rent for the bar.
Right.
So off the bat, you know how much this brewery is struggling a little bit to make some money.
Right. So they piss off the distributor, but then Sarah, the smart one of the group, basically talks him into coming back under 2 conditions. One of those is they have to compete with each other to they have to basically create a new beer for the distributors' restaurants. Yes. And then there was another thing. Adam could never talk again.
Yep.
Could never talk to Cole.
Cole was very on board with that one.
Right. So can one of you explain kind of what happens in the process of these brothers competing to make a beer?
So basically you can kind of tell their 2 personalities because they both go and start brewing beer, and Adam is like smelling the different hops and different ingredients, whereas Will is just like throwing stuff in and everything. But they ended up, after all of that, they ended up making it. Both great beers.
Yes, they made 2 great beers. And Eric, could you understand what actually happened when Cole tested the 2 beers?
Yeah, I believe, if I'm remembering it right, in the background, Adam was slightly making a face when Cole was drinking Will's. So Adam ended up switching the 2 beers because, Will ended up switching the 2 beers because he knew that if his beer was actually chosen, he knew that Adam would freak out and cost him the whole deal with all the distributors. So Adam ends up not getting his beer chosen, and Will does. Problem is that Adam had peed in Will's batch of beer. And that is the one that was chosen to go to the distributor.
Right. And Cole loves it. He's like, it's so good.
And then you're just like cringing, like, oh,
I know.
Man.
I know. Any last comments about this first episode? Anything we might have not talked about that really sets up this world?
I guess you can just kind of tell just the competition between the brothers and that rivalry that might build, even though they're trying to work together, and how will they overcome that? Will they ever throughout the season?
Yeah. Do either of you have siblings?
Yes, I'm the oldest of 3 boys.
Oh my gosh, Eric. So you're the oldest. So you're Adam.
Yes, I am the Adam in the situation.
Do you feel like you kind of pulled some Adam-y things with your
I would like to think I never went to the extremes that Adam did with his brother.
And that's what the older ones always say. How about you, Alyssa?
Yeah, I'm the oldest. I have a younger sister. So there's 2 of us. But I would say that I'm actually more of the Will and she's more of the Adam, if I had to choose.
Really?
Yeah, she's like the boss. And I'm like, But,
yeah, and I'm the youngest of 2, and yeah, my brother kind of pulled some things sometimes. So all right, so that is our first episode called The Brothers Rodman. Let's move on to episode 2, Recreate the Opus. So now it's called Rodman's Brewing Company. They want to recreate this beer. And so Adam, I think it was Adam that recreated the beer.
Yes.
Without piss. And he explains that he used cloves, grapefruit zest, and a modicum of barrel-aged vinegar. Anyone want to talk about this this yummy recreated beer?
Well, we quickly learn from this that Chuy cannot taste or smell anything. because he loved the taste and the smell of the original beer with pee in it. And we quickly learned that he doesn't have any taste or smell because he chugged antifreeze on a bet that he won nothing for actually doing this bet.
The perfect guy to work at a brewery, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I love Adam's line. He says, "Someone can drink my beer, pee it out, and it still tastes great."
So Adam.
total beer bro kind of
Yeah.
line. And then we go to what's quickly becoming for me a flashback.
Mhm.
Will always thought he was a bedwetter when
So
he was a
sad.
little kid. But Alyssa, what actually happens?
Yes, so it turns out that they had bunk beds, and Adam would go down to the bottom bunk and pee next to where Will was sleeping. And many, many years, Will thought that he was the one wetting the bed when really it was his brother wetting it for him.
Yeah.
Been going as far as having to wear, I think, diapers or something, or like
Yeah.
pull-ups or something.
Now, I'm going to share something that, I haven't had anything to drink except water, but my brother and I also had bunk beds and shared a room when I was a kid. And I was a bedwetter. I was a little kid. I was, what was I, like 23, 24? Just kidding. 6 or 7. And there was actually a machine that would buzz. It was like this mat that would go under the sheets. And as soon as I peed, it would be a loud buzz that was supposed to wake me up so I would know. But I'm wondering if it was really my brother peeing on my bed. So
You need to ask him about this
it
now.
could have been.
So anyone else want to share an embarrassing moment? We have 6 more episodes. So if you're not ready now, Alyssa or Eric.
Yeah, maybe we'll see how the episodes
As
roll
far as I
out.
know, I had nothing embarrassing has ever happened for me.
All right, before the series is over, I want to have a talk with both of your siblings, all of your siblings, to see what the truth is. All right.
They're home, so.
Oh, good. All right. So Alyssa, do you want to talk about the Founder Circle, what this is?
Yes. At first I was like, oh, how great. They have something that, gets, frequent people into their brewery. But then you find out that the Founder Circle is just a one-time payment of $500, and then you get free beer for life. So they have two guys that are coming in regularly that are on the Founders Wall that have definitely gained a little weight from drinking a lot of beer day to day.
I think that's the funniest is their pictures are them skinny.
Yes.
And I couldn't see, and I was wondering, I wonder if they just Photoshopped the pictures as opposed to having the actors, no, we need you to work out. Don't drink beer for 6 months for these photos, and then you can drink beer again.
Yeah. I probably think potentially that one.
Oh, you think they worked out?
No, I think what you said. Sorry.
Photoshop.
Yeah, Photoshop.
Yeah, definitely Photoshop. All right. So we've got the Founder Circle that'll play later on, because weren't there some other guys later on that were part of the Founder Circle or join the Founder Circle?
Yeah, so Chuy ends up bringing, because he worked at the auto body shop next door, so Chuy ends up bringing all of his old coworkers to be a part of it, and he tells Will, oh yeah, we got $8,000 to be part of this. And Will's so happy, he thinks $8,000 cash, it's going to be amazing. Turns out it's $8,000 in auto repair. And it also turns out Will doesn't have a car. Yeah. So this is a deal made entirely for Chuy that benefits nobody but him.
Right. Of course. That's crazy. And then the next thing is Adam becomes a PI. He starts investigating Sarah. Eric, anything we learned? Is Adam a good public or private investigator?
I would say no, because he ends up going through the wrong woman's purse and ends up making the people next door to them very mad that he was insulting the owner of the auto body shop's wife.
Right.
So I would say Adam should probably lose his PI license.
Yes. But what, Alyssa, what does he discover about Sarah?
They found out at the food truck that they came into counter with someone that is adamant that went to high school with Sarah, Mason, who is the kimchi food truck guy. So she just denied. And because Will and Sarah are so close, Will just kind of believes Sarah, like, no, Adam, you don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing more, because they blank out ask, like, are you sure you're of age? She's like, yes, I'm 25. And they just kind of left it at that.
Yeah. And then as we learn later on, Mason was in the room when Adam and Will basically explain, Sarah's basically like, I'm 18.
Oh, yes.
But blackmails them, in part because Mason blackmails them as well, because he's like, wait, I'm in the room hearing you explain that you hired her at 18.
Yep.
So he becomes a member of the founders circle.
Without even having to put down $500.
Exactly.
Right, without having to put down $500. I love the part, let's talk about them trying to recreate this beer. We kind of touched on it at the beginning of the of our recap of this episode. Do they ever, Eric, recreate, or what was their idea for how to recreate the beer? Because it didn't work when they tried recreating with vinegar.
Yeah, and as far as I can remember, I don't think they were fully able to recreate the actual flavor of the beer with his actual urine in it, because they had to go through the different types of food. But doesn't he come and pick up just a whole different shipment?
Yes. He asks for was it the stout instead? So after all of that, trying to recreate pea beer, they ask for a completely different batch.
So Adam is trying to eat it. They're trying to remember the foods that Adam would have eaten in order to actually recreate the pea smell. They can't really do it. And then at the end, Cole says, my restaurants don't want an IPA. They want a stout. You got one? And they're like, yes, we do. No, we don't. Yes, we do. And then, any last thoughts on this episode too?
I just love the banter between Adam and Will. I think they're just so opposite each other that their entire way of life is just completely opposed to how the other person lives. So I'm so excited to see where that leads them for the rest of the season.
Yeah. And how about you, Alyssa?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's just more building as to, they get a little bit, they finally get the distributor, they're giving out beer, they're making money, but there's still that tension between the two brothers. And then there's Sarah in the middle trying to, play mediator. So it should be interesting to see where it leads.
Right. So one thing that I'm always fascinated with is in especially comedies, there's always, when there's a cast of characters who are really weird and really out there, we always have to have at least one that's grounded. The one that kind of helps us to realize, to heighten the weirdness in shows like this and the League. Sarah, we would say, would be the most normal.
Yeah. I agree. I would say Sarah is the most grounded character that we actually have in the show.
But what makes these shows different from, let's say, a network show is Sarah isn't as grounded as she could be.
Yeah,
she's got a little bit weirdness of herself. So we're kind of that's what I love about these kind of shows. We're kind of we're kind of relating to the most normal one of the group.
Yes.
Who's underage and 18. So, all right. With that, let's go to our news. So, Alyssa, you have some news.
AfterBuzz.
Yeah. So I was checking out the Instagram of Will. In real life, Alan Eisenberg. Did I pronounce his last name correctly?
Alan Eisenberg, yeah.
Yeah, and so he actually celebrated a birthday. It was in quarantine, and so I thought that was fitting with what we're all going through right now. And he also asked his viewers or his to donate to a local food bank, Feeding America, which I thought was really great. And on that post, he had said, He had gotten decorations from his friends, so he had a little decoration, and it said "Happy Quarantine Effing Birthday, Alan," which I thought was really cute with him and like dried goods with like beans and pasta and stuff. But it just made me feel for him and everyone that's having to kind of celebrate alone.
Oh, very cool. Awesome. Thank you. Let's go to a special segment with Eric.
Yeah, so for the special segment for this show, going off the fact that already most people assume that this bar is actually a sex shop, I would love to hear your guys' favorite beers, whether in the show or outside of the show, that just have the most standout names to you guys. Personally, for me, from episode 1, it was Rodman Stiff Stout. I love that.
Right.
And then for episode 2, it's this is one of the beers written on the chalkboard. It's On the Hopping Block. And I'm like, oh, it's just a little fun, clever play on words there for me with them.
The one that I saw that was funny was Full Mast Ale. And then another one, Rod Guzzler. Was a good one.
Yeah, Rod Guzzler. And then I always like the pun ones. So my 2 favorite were Wilhelm's Goes Down Easy.
That was one of mine as well.
Yeah. And Johann Sebastian Doppelbach. So I'm hoping that through the rest of the series, we can catch a glimpse of the menus and then pause them and write them all down. I haven't seen any website that displays them yet. So thank you, Alyssa and Eric, for helping me to cover the first 2 episodes. We're going to be back at what time? Are we back at?
I believe 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time to do episodes 3 and 4. Until then, we're going to guzzle down all of our beers. We're going to go to our favorite food trucks, i.e. our kitchens. Alyssa, where can people find you online?
Yeah, for Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, just at Alyssa Dickert.
Perfect. How about you, Eric?
You guys can follow me on Twitter at EricJewel11. Tweet me out whatever thoughts you guys have on the show so far.
Perfect. And especially we really want you to explain how nice you were to your younger siblings. Totally believe that. My name is Lauren Kling. You can find me on Instagram at Lauren Kling, LORENKLING. Also on Mondays for the Better Call Saul after show. From everybody here at AfterBuzz TV, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in just a little bit. Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.